Welcome to this short video on leading remote teams. Many companies are exploring the opportunity to go fully remote rather than having to rent or buy a building for office space. This means that working, and therefore also leading, remotely has become a very big part of the world of work. Being a remote team leader means striking a balance between building a support system for your team and holding them accountable. This involves a strong focus on building trust, maintaining transparency, communicating frequently and openly, and ensuring a supportive working environment for your team. In this video, we will consider some tips on how to lead remote teams effectively. Find the right tools for the job. There are actually a lot of resources needed when starting or continuing as a fully remote business. Let us take a look at some of the most common resources that remote teams require in order to work successfully. It is important that all team members have the correct hardware to be able to work remotely. Additionally, the correct software needs to be installed on all team members' devices. Here, it is important to remember that remote teams need to store all of their data online, communicate online, and do most of their projects online. Some helpful software tools for remote teams include Zoom for meetings, Zoho for project management, Calendly for meeting bookings, OneDrive for cloud storage, and so much more. It is important to have a backup system in place in case of emergencies such as power failures. An example could be providing team members with a UPS for each to ensure uninterrupted meetings, projects, and conference calls. Set clear goals for productivity. When you are managing remote teams, it is important to set productivity goals. A common set of productivity goals can help the team to work and feel in sync. If team members feel out of sync, they may start to feel as if they are working harder than others, or as if everyone is not pulling their weight. To set productivity goals, first identify your team's productivity metrics. You may want to consider metrics like the percentage of tasks that are completed on time or by the deadline, the amount of time spent on tasks, and the percentage of tasks completed by each team member. Next, identify areas where you want to increase the team's productivity and take steps to enable those productivity increases. If you want to increase the percentage of tasks completed by the deadline, for example, you can try to find ways to make team deadlines more forgiving. If you want to increase the percentage of tasks completed by each team member, offer assistance to those who ask for it and find ways for team members to work independently. It is important to remember that working remotely is much more about productivity output than merely tracking the amount of hours worked. Ensure that you have the correct work tracking system that can track how well your team is doing and how productive they are. Encourage team members to do their best in the time that is available to them and to be as productive as possible. Be aware when team members do more than what is expected of them, and be sure to acknowledge and reward their productivity. Encourage regular communication. As a member or leader of a remote team, you want to make sure you encourage regular communication between the members of your team. While you do not need to monitor every single communication channel, it is important to remain aware of team communication in order to ensure that your team members are communicating enough to feel connected. To encourage regular communication, make it easy for team members to communicate with you and with one another. Send emails that are short, to the point, and easy to read. Be available via phone and in-person meetings when possible. Also ensure that the team communicates professionally and on a friendly basis. Working from home can cause team members to feel lonely at times, and therefore regular communication is key. Ensure that each team member communicates what is happening in their workday to someone else on the team. Regular progress meetings and weekly reviews can help here, as it ensures that everyone is updated with what is happening in the organization and feels connected with all the team members. Provide clear feedback. Provide clear and frequent feedback to your team members. Talk about your expectations for them and your team, what their strengths are, and what some of the areas are that they can improve on. Feedback can be provided in many ways, including in-person meetings, team meetings, and one-on-one conversations. The key is to make feedback clear and frequent so that your team members know what they are doing well and what they need to work on. When team members receive or give feedback, it makes it easier for everyone on the team to know what is expected of them and how to achieve this. It is no secret that providing feedback is an important part of an effective learning program. Feedback improves learner motivation, confidence, and performance. In addition to what your workers desire, 65% of employees say they want more feedback. Feedback comes in many forms and varieties. Focus on outcomes, not activity. While it is certainly important to communicate regularly and provide feedback, it is critical to ensure that you are communicating on the issues that really matter. For example, what's the outcome you want the team to achieve? What are the key metrics that are important to you and your team? What's the bottom line? Be sure that these are the outcomes and metrics that your team regularly communicates on, so that everyone knows where they stand. By making sure that your team remains focused on the results rather than just staying busy, you can achieve productivity and successful outcomes similar to those that an on-site team would achieve. When you are focused on your desired outcomes or objectives, you will know what needs your attention and how long you should spend on it. Your team should be reminded of this so that they can prioritize their work effectively. By focusing on results, you will be able to plan for meetings, appraisals, communications, etc. Let your team members know you're invested in them. As a team leader, you need to ensure that your team members feel a sense of autonomy, as if they are in charge of their own work. You want to empower your team members to make decisions and solve problems creatively. Making employees feel valued in the work they do is critical for business success and improving the environment, individual, and team performance, as well as helping a company achieve its goals. When your team knows that you value them and their input, they usually perform better and do more than what is expected of them. A team member who understands that there is opportunity for them to grow and who feels encouraged to do so will always do their best to perform better and give better output. By staying invested in your team members' success and growth, you are also ensuring that they give their best to your organization. Host daily meetings for ongoing projects. You can't manage a remote team if you don't have daily contact with those on your team. Working remotely means that you can't just get together on a regular basis like teams working in an office. You can, however, still make time for those conversations, and it's important that you do. You'll need to build a culture of communication and trust in your remote team if you want to be successful. When projects and tasks are being followed up on a daily basis, team members tend to give better results, be more productive, and are more open to asking for help if it is needed. Ensure that your team members feel comfortable enough to ask for help in these daily meetings. Try to facilitate open conversation where team members are encouraged to ask for assistance, give their opinions, and be a bit social with the members of the team. Mentor more than manage. As the leader of a remote team, you need to set the culture of remote communication. This means that you actually need to talk to your team about communication. What is communication, really? How can your team improve your communication? What sort of communications is appropriate and helpful and what's not? As the team leader, it is important that you are also a part of the team and not just a boss who hands out orders. Having conversations about improving team communication can help achieve this, as your team will understand and feel that you all learn and grow together. Being a mentor also provides an extremely important transfer of knowledge within your organization so that the next generation doesn't spend valuable time doing what you already accomplished. You can provide a sounding board for rising stars to learn from prior experience and direction to make better decisions in similar circumstances by being a mentor. Show flexibility. Remote teams are built on trust, and that trust starts with flexibility. It's critical to show flexibility when it comes to communication. While you can't expect your team to be available at all hours, but you can expect them to be responsive when they are available. Be ready to show flexibility and be ready to ask for flexibility when you need it. If you need to talk to someone in the middle of the night, be respectful of the fact that they're likely sleeping and not ready to talk. Be flexible. You can't control everything, but you can control your flexibility. Being a team leader that understands flexibility also shows that you care. For example, when a team member asks to go to the doctor, let them. Just make sure that your team members still give great output and that their work does not get neglected due to the fact that they have flexibility. Celebrate successes. One of the best things you can do as a remote manager is to celebrate your team's successes, no matter how big or small. It might be a small project that was completed that only one team member really enjoyed. It might be a big project that was completed that everyone on your team really liked. Celebrate that. Celebrating both the big and the small wins can be one of the best forms of encouragement that you can give your remote team members. It can help them feel a sense of purpose and value in their work and can keep them engaged. As mentioned earlier, team members who feel valued are more likely to perform better and do much more than what is expected of them. Being a remote team leader means building a support system for your team. You need to check in with your team. You need to mentor more than manage. You need to be accessible and responsive. You need to be flexible with your communication. And you need to celebrate your team's victories. Thank you for watching this short video on leading remote teams.